Hey there, my friends. Rob Franek. I'm editor-in-chief here at the Princeton Review. And folks, please know how much we absolutely love reading your comments and your feedback to our YouTube videos. And today, we are beyond tickled to make a video in response to one viewer's request for tips and advice about applying to colleges abroad. So, for today's segment, we're going to focus specifically on the UK and France. Now, while admission requirements vary from country to country, we're going to share 6 key tips to help you navigate the application process and, most importantly, better understand how it differs from the process here in the US. So with that all said, we're going to jump right in. Tip number 1, research where and how to apply. Now, as many of you already know, U.S. students can apply to nearly 900 U.S. colleges and universities through the Common Application. Applicants can submit letters of recommendation and standardized test scores and personal statements and transcripts all through one centralized online platform. Likewise, in the UK, there's the Universities and Colleges Admission Services, or UCAS, which is their centralized online platform, which oversees the application process for both undergraduate as well as postgraduate programs in the UK. Similarly, for students interested in studying in France, you'll need to apply through the Etudes in France. That's the online application system there. Now, tip number 2, take note of deadlines, fees, and restrictions. Now, application deadlines in the US, the UK, and France are all due in January. The deadline for regular admission in the States is typically between early and mid-January. In the UK, most undergraduate applications are due on January 15th, unless you're applying to Oxford and Cambridge, in which case you'll need to submit your application in October. And for those students that are applying to undergraduate institutions in France, you'll need to apply by January 17th. Now, while the deadlines are around the same time frame, there are 2 major differences that you need to remember. The first of which is the number of institutions to which you can apply. In the US, you can apply to an unlimited number of undergraduate institutions, but in the UK, you can apply to only 5. And in France, you can apply to a maximum of 3. The second key difference is the application fees. It's roughly £20 to apply to one UK institution via UCAS, and £26 in total to apply to multiple institutions. Again, that's a maximum of 5, which will convert approximately to 26 to 33 US dollars in total to apply to college. In France, you'll pay a one-time fee of $205 to apply, again, to a maximum of 3 colleges. In contrast, US application fees can be as much as $90 each. But with that said, the other set of fees that, of course, you'll need to consider are going to be the longer-term fees, your tuition, your books, and, of course, living expenses. Now, depending on where you aspire to study, you'll need to ensure that you have a plan for financially supporting yourself as you pursue your higher education. Tip number 3, find out if the SAT and/or the ACT is required and accepted. Now, most undergraduate institutions in the UK accept the SAT and the ACT, though the SAT is more widely accepted, along with AP exams and SAT subject test scores. In fact, colleges in the UK can and may rely heavily on your achievement on those tests to be admitted to those schools. In contrast, while some French schools may want to see your scores, your acceptance is mostly contingent on the following 4 requirements. Number 1, passing the French language proficiency exam. That's the TCF-DAP exam. Number 2, of course, your official academic transcripts from the States. Number 3, your resume. And number 4, your letters of recommendation. And all of those documents need to be translated and submitted in French. That said, be sure to reach out to each institution to find out their requirements and their policies around standardized tests. Tip number 4, decide what you want to study. Now, friends, here in the US, you are able to apply to college without knowing what you want to study. You typically have until the end of your sophomore year before you're required to declare a major. That, my friends, is not the case in Europe. You must select a course of study before you apply to universities. This is arguably the toughest part about applying to college in Europe. So we advise you to visit each school's website and reach out, of course, to the admission office to learn as much as you can about their academic offerings. You'll want to think long and hard before making a commitment that will define your college career. Tip number 5, my friends, adjust how you position yourself. Now, we often emphasize and discuss right here on our YouTube channel the importance of being a well-rounded student. And in the US, colleges and universities look for more than students' good grades and high test scores. Admission teams, admission officers evaluate applicants holistically. Things like student leadership and sports and community service matter a great deal to US schools, and they can help your application stand out. However, admission teams in Europe assess applicants a bit differently and place much more emphasis on grades and test scores. Now, unlike US schools, academic performance, proven passion for your field of study, and the ability to complete your degree are the top attributes that admission officers will consider. As such, you'll want to customize your application accordingly and think about how you plan to position your application for schools in Europe versus schools in the US. So for example, if you're applying to a school in the US, it is perfectly acceptable to focus your personal statement on a defining experience related to your extracurricular activities. However, when applying to a school in Europe, you'll want to make your personal statement about why you are suitable to study at their university or college. If you're applying to schools abroad, you'll want to reach out to each school and find out what attributes they find most important in an applicant so that you can position yourself competitively. This is my 6th and final tip. Start getting your documents in order. You will need to obtain a student visa to study internationally. Now, while requirements will vary depending on the country you plan to study in, typically you'll at least need, number 1, a passport, number 2, a letter of admission from the institution that you're attending, number 3, proof of language proficiency, and number 4, proof of sufficient financial support for living in that country. Now, it may take several weeks to gather these documents, so get ahead by identifying and preparing them early. As always, my friends, I hope that you found this video helpful. If so, please do leave us a comment below, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe to our channel for the latest updates on exams, admissions, study tips, and much, much more. Again, Rob Franek signing off for today. See you here soon.